Well, that could have been worse. All right, I'm ready to pop. I'm going to pop this out here in a minute. We're going to go in there. We're going to do a little cosmetic work to the part. The part is still sound. All right, I've already had it out here, but I reset it in here because I want that before I go do some cosmetic little touch up here. We got about a 1/2 inch area that's actually going to be touched up. The other area that it grabbed was already an area where we still had 200 thousandths more to come off of it. All right, and we'll regroup and we'll go back to cutting this again, but we're not going to use a this 4-flute end mill here. We're going to go ahead and throw in a turbo end mill because how minute we're actually holding this thing, and I'm also going to put a machinist clamp on against two of the jaws, so that it has that safety factor in there. Besides that, what I did is I went ahead and took another P drill. I chose one out of 3 or 4 that I had in there, and I went ahead and I cut it off and I put it into a collet so that I can come down here and I can locate this hole again. Not just for coming back in and doing this flat, but going ahead and rotating it around 180 and doing that flat. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're gonna go in the other room there, and I'm going to let me grab my chuck key here, and I'm going to give you a picture of the damage here. You'll see it on video, and of course it tracked right around there. All right, now you can see how close it is to the hole. Now almost straight out from the hole that way is all machined off of there, so it's really, that's the amount of area that I need to touch up, and it's just so superficial. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use silver solder, and I'm just going to paste some silver solder in on there, and then we'll put it in the lathe, and we're just going to bring this back in and shape this out. The lathe is open. The aluminum saved any of this from damage. All right, so there's nothing else on here got damaged, and all my countersink holes and everything else are just really up to snuff here. Really look good. So, but that will bother me if I don't do something about it. That will bother me, and of course, it's we almost had to rename this to scrap it, or I don't know. All right, let's go see what we can do. Okay, I think I'm all set. All right, the stay flux, stay silver flux is what we're going to use to get it to bond to here. Now we're only going to be about a 1/2 inch right here, and I only need to put this where I want it. All right, now the silver solder, everybody asks me what the silver solder is all the time, and it's A45 silverloy, cadmium free, and basically general purpose silver solder. All right, and I'm trying something new with my my other camera here with the light setting, see if we can get in there and actually see a silver brace going on. All right. I'm starting to see just a little glow. All we need is a little surface glow. There's a little glow right there. Okay, we want it to fill up our cavities right in there. That's good. I like that. All right, I'm gonna live with that. Okay, I just got a tool bit here with some emery on it, and I'm just pinpointing because you got that flux that gets right on that surface, and I'm trying to concentrate and get that off of there. And I think I got just a little bit on this back side here as well. Whoop. Once you get that off of there, the rest of the polish or blend in is pretty good. Looks pretty good. You almost can't see it on the back side there. And the reason why I chose silver solder is because this little bit of amount of heat is not going to do anything on this part here. And I put it in there, and then I put the dial indicator on. Okay, the camera over there is, I'm putting files on the memory card there, so I have more video tape. I ran out while I was doing the work on this, but I wanted to show you up close that you can see how each and every one of the fillets here is all filled in with the silver solder. From here on out, it's going to be, that'll be machined off of there. But I was able to actually blend that in, blend the radius and everything else in. I did come in and I lightly skipped with the radius. I didn't take anything off the diameter. I came in to where it was just about 1/1000 high. In fact, it's probably still reading about 1/1000 more across at this diameter here than I am straight across where it has no flaw. Okay, but it's 100% filled in where it's going to need to be filled in, and I brought it back to a polish. And now we're going to go check the fit into the part itself, and then after that we're going to get it back into the mill and continue on putting our 2 flats on it. Alright, I just had to add this a little bit in here, and I'll take a couple still shots of what we got there as far as the repair. All right. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't any worse. I'm glad it didn't come in here and destroy that hole. It just it didn't even come in for the whole radius here, and that will all be cleaned off. And this right here is the only remnants that you'll see of that mishap. All right. So as far as dimensions, we didn't see any change. We still got to dress that off and everything else, but we got work to do to that. So before we get back in there, I want to go ahead and just see if this fits back in here as nicely as it did before. And of course there we go, the gear was up on it. And also too, while we're here, I wanted to line up those holes. Might as well, right? Okay, that one's screwed in. That one wants to start. That screws in. That one screws in. That one screws in. We're right close. When we get all done, we'll run the tap in and out of here, and we'll be repairing this hole right here to line up. So we established that we will be able to make that flange or that whole pattern go. There must be something down in those threads or whatever, because it's a little bit tight. All right, pull that apart. Let's get it back in the machine here and get going on it. Okay, we got the quill down in the hole here, so we can align it, rotating, and we just make sure our readout is 1 more thousandth over there, because that's where we're at. I'm pretty sure I had it snug before. I don't want to crush it, and I don't want to put extra marks on it. Okay, but we're back to 0. So let's finish putting our 2 flats on there, which are these 2 flats of the casting itself. So it's just a cosmetic flat that lets this swing around and have its clearance. All right, we're going to take this out of here, and we're going to put the 1/2 inch back in, but we're going to run a turbo end mill this time. And we're going to go ahead and move this out of the way here. All right, now this is, let's see if I got a finer serration on a 1/2 inch in the toolbox there. All right, it looked like pretty close to the same, but this one does feel a little sharper, and we know that never hurts. Okay, and maybe we won't try to take 100 thousandths at a time and then wrap our traverse backwards when we didn't realize what happened. It probably was so much pressure on the push because this end mill was probably dull, and it was rotating it slightly, and then when we came back it was actually ramping up on a surface that was pitching slightly there. The video will show us that twisting, which now that we know what happened, we'll probably see it as we watch the video. Sometimes that's what's so nice about actually video and some of your work, almost like racing. When we were racing, if we would have had videos on every one of our races, we would have had a better pit, that's for sure. Okay. And we're going to take a cut, and then we'll take a measurement and then find out where we're at again, because our measurements are all off now that we've changed from a 450 end mill to a full 1/2 inch. All right. So we'll let this cut by. I'm going to bring you in a little closer so you can see it. Probably bring you in on the other side, because you're not really seeing anything from this side here, just like I'm not seeing anything unless I run my mirror like this or like that. Okay, we put you around on the back side. We added a machinist clamp over here like we said we were, and we just need to go ahead and measure our thickness here. Need to be more straight up and down here so that we can give it a best judgment. Okay, about 860, and we need about 680. So we're going to go another 50 thousandths here. Had a retouch here. Okay. There we go. All right, we just we measured this, and we're about 695, and we have we have about 10 thousandths difference between one side and the other side. One side's measuring about 175, 180, and then the other side here is like 195. So we're going to shoot for 85, and we think that will split up. We're going to try that on both sides. And everything looks good. We actually just started cleaning right at that edge where our mistake was at. So we're just going to crank in 10 more thousandths here, which would be 65 right here. That doesn't mean anything to you because it's just on my readout from my 0 point. All right, here we go. Really just a light skim. Okay, just laying it on back here. We're going to be pulling this out and putting our collet in with our pin, and we're going to be getting ready to rotate this part. As soon as I take this and see if we got 85. At that narrow spot there, got about 87, 86. Alright, I like that. We're going to be kissing that probably on the sander a little bit, just to take the turbo cut stripes out of it. Alright, let's undo our keeper here. Alright, and change out our pin. Okay, we came out to 0 and we came over to 2593, and we have our pin aligning with our hole, and now we want to grab our chuck because we're gonna break this loose and we're gonna spin it around. I may, when we have the, I'm gonna take it all the way out because I feel a little raised burr. I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with this jaw over here. Yeah, I can catch my nail on it. I'm gonna have to ever so slight. I'm gonna take the fine file. I got one right here. Okay, we knocked that off of there. Okay, so the flat's over here on this jaw now, and I'm just trying to get my aluminum shim here to ride in a different spot, so we got full protection. Alright, we're locked in on there. I like that. Okay, now we can pull this back out, put our end mill in, and do the second cut. A little bit more involved than the first attempt, but still glad I didn't scrap it. Yet. Okay, we're gonna stick with our 50 thousandths at a time. Alright, we got to get our little clamp on here. Just a little extra pressure, just in case tool bit pressure wants to add a little bit to it. Another 50. All right, second side, we're coming along with our finished cut. We figured out our depth, and it was 35 thousandths is our finished cut on this side here. Finished on the same number on the readout, 2865. Which I said that number didn't mean anything to you. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to pull off our extra brake here and raise this up out of the way. Now theoretically, if we cut those parallel from each other, they should read the same dimension, right? Okay, we're getting about 248. And we're getting 250 and probably a couple tenths to a half. So we're within 2.5 thousandths for a to the air surface. That's pretty good. You know, that just shows how close we were able to locate that hole, rotate it, and put it back in, and then cut two flats. Those flats are 2.5 inches long. All right. Let's pull it out. We're gonna go dress up these two edges right here on the Wilton real quick, and we're done with this setup, and we can start thinking about doing the slicing and dicing. Well, it came out pretty good. I just hit these with the sander and I deburred them with a file. They look pretty good, and there's our little spot for the mistake. Now that can go out here, or that can go out here. Or it can go right there. Okay, this time I'll line it with the bolts here. Alright, we got this down in place. And I went ahead and I actually ran the tap down and cleared out all the threads, so they are nice and free. And we're not going to get over here into this one here until we're all done with the project here, and then I will get in there and repair that one thread so that it'll join the rest of these in strength of holding and all of that's needed. All right, so next time you see me, we'll be cutting some slits and slots and scallops and all the rest of the stuff that need to finish this job up. Get her done.